She came back from that trip with a glow on her face. Like she just walked out of someone else's life, and had not decided yet if she wanted to step back into mine. Her suitcase hit the hardwood like an apology she did not care enough to make. She dropped her sunglasses on the kitchen counter, scrolled through her phone with the kind of grin you save for private moments, and did not even look at me when she said, "The trip was interesting." I watched her like I was watching someone else's wife. Jenna was not a mystery to me. We'd been together almost a decade. I knew the rhythm of her moods, the specific way her mouth curled when she was hiding something, the cadence of her lies. Yes, lies. I'd seen it once before. Early on in our relationship, when she lied about where she'd been for a weekend, said she stayed at her sister's. I found out 2 months later, it was some party she did not want to explain. I forgave her back then, told myself she just did not want to deal with the drama. But this was different. This was calculated. After she showered, she came out in one of my t-shirts. Hers always felt tight after trips. She'd say and poured herself a glass of that Sauvignon Blanc she made such a big deal about packing. She did not offer me a glass, just leaned against the kitchen island. Phone still glued to her hand, and asked, "Did the dogs miss me?" Not "Did you miss me?" The question rang hollow. I should have said something right then. I should have demanded to know why she was texting instead of talking to me, why she looked like she was still somewhere else, why she had not hugged me, had not kissed me, had not even pretended to be happy to see me. But I did not, because I was still trying to be the guy who gives space, the guy who trusts. So I let it slide. 2 days passed, 2 days of watching her float through the house like a stranger with a key. Her phone was never out of reach. She kept it face down even in the bathroom. She smirked at things I could not see. She avoided eye contact when I asked about the trip. Said it was fun. Said Amanda was a mess as usual. Said she missed real coffee. But when I asked what they did, she blinked like I just quizzed her on nuclear physics. Yoga, beach drinks, repeat. What else would we do? That line, that lazy, brittle little line. It did not match the energy. It did not match the body language. It did not match the tan line I saw when she reached for a mug and her shirt lifted just enough to show that soft skin above her hip. A tan line that did not belong to a girl who sat under an umbrella reading thrillers and sipping mimosas with her bestie. No, that was a vacation tan. That was a someone rubbed sunscreen on me tan, and something in me broke quietly, cleanly. That night, I waited until she fell asleep. Phone clutched in her hand, fingers still resting on the screen like she could not even let it go in her dreams. And I went into the laundry room to sort through her suitcase. She'd only unpacked half of it. The rest was a crumpled mess shoved in carelessly. That was not like her either. Jenna packs like she is solving a puzzle. This was different. And that S when I found it. A receipt folded from a rooftop bar in Fort Lauderdale, 2 drinks, an appetizer, a shared entree, not a man to food. Jenna does not share meals. She's one of those order-your-own types. The date, the exact night she said she and Amanda got massages and turned their phones off for a full evening to detox. The lie was so casual. I almost admired it. I stood there alone, next to the whir of the dryer, holding that receipt like it was evidence in a trial I never knew I'd be attending. I did not sleep that night. I did not even confront her the next morning. I just watched every breath, every movement. I watched her pretend to laugh at TikToks over coffee. Watched her half listen when I asked if she wanted to visit my parents that weekend. She waved me off with a maybe next time. Like I was a salesman on the street handing her a brochure for a show she'd already seen. I started checking things. Her Instagram activity, her Venmo. I noticed she'd sent Amanda $100 the night before she left for the trip. Something about splitting the difference. But Amanda paid for the Airbnb. I saw the charge on our shared card. So what exactly were they splitting? Then came the AirTag. The one I'd put in Jenna's luggage months ago, after she lost a bag on a business trip. She never noticed it was still there. I checked the location history. She never stayed in Miami the whole time. Day 3 Boca Raton. Day 4, back in Fort Lauderdale. Day 5, still in Fort Lauderdale. She never told me she left the city. When I brought it up, casually over dinner, she blinked and said, "Yeah, we did a little day trip." I did not think it was worth mentioning. That was the crack that became a crater. I stared at her fork halfway to my mouth, and I swear to God, I saw her decide not to care. Her expression was blank. I'm bothered. Like my suspicion bored her. Like I was wasting her time by not blindly trusting the woman who had just erased 3 days of her life from the story she fed me. And it hit me. She did not come back from a trip. She came back from a test run. A test run of a life without me. Everything after that moved in silence. I did not yell. I did not ask. I prepared. I pulled phone records. I reviewed email logins. I even checked our shared Apple ID for photo backups. And the moment I saw it, one blurry, carelessly taken selfie of her and a man in sunglasses, poolside, arm around her waist like they'd done it 100 times, I knew. She brought him with her. And when she came home, she brought his ghost with her to the next morning. I told her I was going to visit my brother, packed a bag, left, but I did not go to my brother's. I went to a lawyer. And when I came back, I told her to get out. She did not ask why. Not right away. When I walked in the door with the kind of quiet you only carry after speaking to a divorce attorney, she was on the couch, legs tucked under her, TV playing, but IS locked on her phone. Again, always the damn phone. When I stepped inside and dropped the keys on the table a little too hard, she looked up and blinked like I'd interrupted some daydreams she did not want to be in with me. "Hey," she said casually, like she had not just spent 5 days screwing someone else in a beach condo I'd booked. I did not say anything. I went straight to the bedroom, grabbed a box, opened drawers, started pulling out her things. That got her attention. She followed me down the hallway, confused, slightly amused. "What are you doing?" "I want you to leave," I said, calm as I could. She stared like I just offered her expired milk. "What are you talking about?" "I know, Jenna." She laughed. That sharp little, your ridiculous laugh she used to aim at slobberistas and anyone who double-parked. "No, what the guy, the one you brought to Fort Lauderdale, the one you took selfies with, the one you said made you feel safe." Her face, God, I wish I could photograph the shift. It was like her whole body stalled mid-software update. Brows twitched, lips parted, breath caught, one heartbeat of silence, and then you went through my stuff. That was her angle, not denial, not remorse, not even surprise, just straight to outrage. Like I was the villain for pulling back the curtain and finding the truth. "You lied to me," I said, still packing. "You told me it was just you and Amanda. You said you were at the spa. You said your phone was off. You lied, Jenna. Every day of that trip was a lie." Her voice climbed an octave. "That does not give you the right to stalk me. You checked my iCloud. Are you insane? What's insane is that you thought I would not find out. You brought another man on a trip with you and then came home to my house, my bed, like nothing happened. And now you re-mad. I caught you." She crossed her arms. "You overreacting. Nothing happened." That broke something in me. I stopped folding, turned, stared her dead in the eye. "I've got pictures. I've got location data. I've got the host of the Airbnb saying you and your boyfriend were model guests. I even found messages. You called me a joke. You said you had to pretend to laugh at my jokes." Her mouth open-closed. She blinked twice, then gave me the small crooked shrug. "Okay," she said softly. "So what if something did happen? What are you going to do? Throw away 8 years over one mistake?" "One mistake?" She nodded, full confidence. "Now people make mistakes. Mike, I was drunk. It did not mean anything. It lasted 4 nights. You texted him from our bed after you made playlists with him, Jenna. You made inside jokes about me." She rolled her eyes. "You were emotionally checked out for months. What did you expect?" And there it was. The final knife. Not only was she unapologetic, she was shifting blame, turning my kindness, my patience, my belief in her into the very excuse for her betrayal. I looked at her and saw a stranger. No worse than that. I saw someone who had never loved me the way I loved her. You need to leave, I said, quieter now. No more anger. Just resolve. Take your things. Go to Amanda's or his. I do not care. She shook her head. You really going to throw me out over this? I'm not throwing you out, Jenna. You walked out when you chose someone else. I'm just closing the door behind you. That shut her up. For a moment. Then she scoffed, walked back into the bedroom and started throwing clothes into a duffel bag like I was inconveniencing her more than anything. You pathetic, she muttered. You were always too soft. Too boring. You think being a nice guy makes you special? It makes you easy to lie to. I did not flinch. I just stepped aside and let her pack. When she walked past me on her way out, she did not even look back. And I did not ask her to. She slammed the door, and the silence she left behind, it was the most honest thing she'd given me in years. She was gone, but she did not leave. Not really. Her toothbrush was still in the bathroom. Her shampoo, that overpriced botanical nonsense she guilt-tripped me into buying, still sat on the shower shelf like a little ghost, mocking me every time I stepped in. I bagged it up. All of it. Every single remnant. Tossed the pillowcase she used, stripped the bed, fevers the air like that could somehow wipe away the sender betrayal. But the damage was not in the house. It was in the messages that started rolling in an hour later. The first was from her, of course. So I guess you think you're a big man now? Throwing me out like that. You know, you're going to regret this. I did not respond. Then came Amanda. Wow. Did not expect you to be so dramatic. She made a mistake, Mike. 1. You really just ended your marriage over one dumb slip. A dumb slip. That's what they were calling it now. A 4-day vacation love affair complete with beach selfies and pillow talk and playlist sharing. A slip. Like she tripped and landed mouth first on another man. I blocked Amanda right then. But something about her wording did not sit right. She was too involved, too eager to step in. And that's when it hit me. Amanda did not just know. She facilitated. I still had access to our shared iCloud. Jenna had not changed the password. She was not thinking that far ahead. She probably assumed I'd be too emotional to dig further. I was not. I went through the backup messages, texts between her and Amanda from days before the trip. Jenna, you sure he's okay with us bringing someone else? Amanda, he booked the place. It's under his name. He'll never know. Just delete the notifications. Jenna, I do not want drama if Mike finds out. Amanda, then do not let him find out. You deserve this. You deserve this. Amanda was not just her cover. She was her cheerleader, her hype woman, her damn enabler. That made something inside me turn cold. I called my lawyer the next morning, changed all the passwords, cancelled her access to every shared account, froze the joint card, shut down her phone line on the family plan, and rerouted all our mail. And I told him this is not just about infidelity. This was planned to see months in the making. I did not even care about revenge. I was not out for some dramatic courtroom war. I just wanted her gone from my house, from my wallet, from every corner of my life. And I wanted to make sure she understood something. She did not leave a man too soft to stand up for himself. She left a man who gave her every chance, and she burned it all for a few nights with a stranger, and the validation of a friend just as toxic as she was. The next message I got was not from Jenna. It was from Brian. Yeah, him. He had the balls to text me. Hey, I did not know she was married. She told me you guys were separated. I would not have touched her if I'd known. I did not reply. I did not need to. Because this guy, he was just a symptom. Jenna was the disease. And she was still trying to infect everything she could. The final nail came that weekend. Jenna came back not to apologize, to negotiate. She knocked on the door like it was a sales call. I did not answer right away. I just stood behind the door and waited, listening to her pace. Then she said it. Mike, you see, ain't not just cut me out of your life. I gave you years. I gave you my best years. I opened the door. She looked different. No makeup hoodie too big for her frame. No phone in hand. Vulnerable. But her eyes still cold. Still calculating. You gave me what you wanted to give me. I said, not the truth. Not respect. Just pieces. Broken, half-hearted pieces. And I'm done trying to glue them back together. She scoffed. You think you were going to find someone better than me? No, I said, I think I already did. She blinked. Who? Me. And I shut the door in her face. That was the last time I saw her. The first week after she left was quiet. Not the kind of peaceful quiet you sink into with a blanket and a movie. No, this was the kind of quiet that made you suspicious. Like standing in an empty theater after the show's over, still hearing echoes. Every room in the house felt like it had a version of her still hiding in it. Her hair ties. Her books with pages dog-eared. Her perfume in the closet. Her voice in my head laced with fake sweetness. It was not real quiet. It was the before of the storm. Because just when I started to breathe, thinking maybe she'd finally slink off into whatever version of the truth she tells people, he threw me out because he's insecure. I made one mistake. He was never around. I got an email from her cousin of all people, her cousin. She and Jenna had been close at one point. Then they were not. I never asked why because it did not feel like my business. But that morning, I opened an email with the subject line. I thought you should know. She'd heard about the split through the grapevine. Jenna was not subtle. Of course she was not. She had probably crafted some tragic little story about being emotionally abandoned or controlled. But her cousin did not buy it. She sent me screenshots, old ones, messages between Jenna and another guy, not Brian, this one from last year, before the trip, before any 10 lines, before Miami. And they were not innocent. They were not flirty. They were filthy. She'd been cheating longer than I thought. Different man, different town, same lies, same strategies, same phrases. He has no idea. He thinks I'm just stressed from work. You're the only one who makes me feel alive. I wish I could just leave. It was not a one-time slip. It was not some heat-of-the-moment beach fling. She had a pattern, a system, a methodology for betrayal. When I say I felt sick, I mean it literally. I had to sit down. I reread those messages 10 times just to make sure I was not projecting, misreading, exaggerating. But it was her same texting style, same emojis, same excuses. That weekend she claimed she was visiting her aunt in Vermont. That was the weekend she drove 2 states over to meet him. Same cousin confirmed it. Apparently Jenna had been feeding her fake details for months, saying things like, Mike's just gotten so boring. And I'm still young. I should not be wasting my best years. That phrase again, her best years, like our marriage was a layaway plan for someone better. You want to know what hit hardest? It was not that she cheated. It was that she studied me. She watched me carefully, knew I was loyal, knew I was the type to forgive, knew I would not scream, would not go through her phone, would not snoop. She weaponized my trust. And she wore it like armor while she snuck around behind my back. The people around us started taking sides. Her mom called me and asked if there was still a way to save the marriage. She sounded tired. Like this was not the first time she'd seen Jenna do something like this. When I told her about Brian and the Airbnb and the earlier messages, she was silent. Then she sighed and said, You did not deserve that. Her own mother said that her friends split. Some of them unfollowed me on socials, posted cryptic supportive stories about protecting your peace. And everyone makes mistakes. Amanda, of course, led the little army of denial, posting pictures of wine glasses and girls' nights with captions like real ones always bounce back nail polish. And then there were the people who stayed. My brother came over with beers, did not say a word, just handed me a bottle and sat next to me like the silence was safer than any pity. My coworker Mark, who I'd barely talked to outside of work, sent me a link to a playlist titled, Surviving the Storm, the first track, Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way. I listened to it on loop that night while boxing up the last of her things. The legal process moved fast. Heidi started the paperwork before she even asked about splitting assets. She thought she could come back, negotiate, use tears like currency. But she did not expect me to be ready. She came by once more, a week after the cousin sent me the messages. This time she looked more like herself. Hair done, lipstick, nice jacket, the performance was loaded. I just wanted to see if we could talk, she said, leaning against the doorframe like a rom-com heroine. We talked, I replied, you just did not say anything honest. She bit her lip. Eyes a little misty, waiting for me to crack. I did not. You lied about Miami, about Brian, about Vermont. Want me to keep going? Her lips pressed tight. I'm not the only one who made mistakes. True. I said, mine was loving you too much. She flinched at that, not from guilt. More like a blow to her pride. She left without another word. That was the last time she showed up. I changed the locks the next morning. Healing does not happen in a straight line. It does not come with a soundtrack, or a sunrise, or a montage. Comes in pieces, tiny, jagged pieces like shrapnel you find months after the explosion, still lodged deep under the skin. The first I thought I was doing great. I cleaned the house top to bottom, got rid of her lingering things, bought a new bedsheet set. Not because I needed it, but because the old one had her perfume soaked into it, tossed out the coffee mugs she hoarded from tourist shops, rearranged the furniture, anything to make the space feel like mine again. But no matter how I changed the outside, the inside took longer. You know, the weirdest thing. It was the mornings that hurt the most, not the nights, not the loneliness, not the empty half of the bed. It was waking up and not making her coffee. It was hearing the silence and realizing it was not going to break. It was reaching for my phone and not having a message to send or receive. That's when the withdrawal started. Not from her, but from the habit of her. Because for all her lies and sneaky games, Jenna was a constant. She was woven into everything. Grocery lists, weekend plans, favorite songs, dumb inside jokes. The places in town we could not go because someone would say, "Hey, where's your wife?" And for weeks, I felt like I was bleeding out of a wound only I could see. Then something happened. I got a message from one of Jenna's old friends, Lisa. Lisa and Jenna had a falling out a year ago. Something about money or jealousy or both. I never got the full story. But Lisa had always been kind to me, always treated me like I mattered more than just the guy Jenna brought along. Her message was short. I'm sorry. I always wanted to tell you. She was never good to you. You deserve better. That message came at the exact moment I needed it. Not for revenge, not for validation, but for clarity. Other people saw it too. I was not crazy. I was not weak. I was loyal, and I got played by someone who knew how to weaponize that loyalty. That's when the healing started for real. I started journaling. Not because I'm that kind of guy, but because I needed a place to unload thoughts that kept replaying like reruns in my head. The fake laughs, the text messages, the look on her face when I told her I knew. I signed up for therapy, told myself it was just to get centered, but it became more than that. For the first time, I actually started talking about what I wanted, not what I tolerated, not what I endured to keep the peace, what I needed in a relationship. And somewhere between all that talking and all that silence, I found something she never expected me to find. Peace. Not the fake kind you post about. Not the "I'm fine now" mask. Real peace. I stopped checking her socials. I stopped waiting for people to reach out and pick a side. I stopped looking for closure from someone who would have rather lied than simply say goodbye with respect. And the wildest part? She did try to come back one more time. She did not show up at my door. No, she was smarter than that. She emailed me. Subject line: Do you ever miss me? I did not open it. I did not need to. Because the answer was simple. I missed who I thought she was. Not who she turned out to be. She never saw the version of me that rose from the ashes she left behind. The one who did not beg, who did not chase, who did not need to burn her down to feel taller. I did not need revenge. I needed to rebuild. And I did. I started running again. Started eating better. I reconnected with old friends, the ones she always rolled her eyes at. I got promoted at work too. Funny how that happens when you're no longer spending every ounce of energy trying to read someone who's always speaking in code. I even started dating again. Slowly, carefully, honestly. And when the time came to tell my story on here, to a stranger, to anyone, I did not tell it to get sympathy. I told it so someone else might read it and feel that same shift. That same crack of light in a pitch-black room. Because if you're out there reading this wondering if your gut is telling the truth. It is. If you're wondering whether you're crazy for not trusting the person who keeps giving you half answers and whole lies. You're not. If you're wondering if you'll survive the moment your world splits in two. You will. And one day, maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but one day you'll wake up and smile. Not because someone else loves you, but because you finally love yourself more than you love their potential closure. That word gets tossed around like it's a destination. Like one day you just arrive at it. Park your emotional baggage, step outside, stretch, breathe deep and say, ah yes, this is closure. But that's not how it works. Closure does not knock on your door and introduce itself. It's not a phone call. Not a long overdue apology. It's not even the truth if you ever get it. For me, closure started on a Tuesday. I was walking through Target of all places just buying stupid stuff I did not need. And I saw a couple in the candle aisle. The guy picked up a scent, smelled it, made a face, and the girl laughed like it was the funniest thing she'd ever seen. Their shoulders brushed. She leaned in. He smiled with his whole face. It hit me in the chest. Not the pain of losing Jenna. The pain of realizing I never had that with her to begin with. We had the shell, the photo album version, the Instagram smile and anniversary dinner and look how cute we are snapshots. But we never had that. That small unfiltered joy, that comfort in the mundane, that mutual softness, everything with Jenna had weight. Every joke came with a price. Every moment of affection was a transaction. Even in the best times I was auditioning. And suddenly, standing there between overpriced candles and back-to-school signs, I felt this wave of relief crash over me. I did not lose something real. I lost something that looked good on paper. Something that sounded right when I said it out loud to friends. Something that made sense at the time because I did not know what better could feel like. That was the real closure. Not her apology because it never came. Not some grand epiphany because she never gave me one. Just me realizing I'd been mourning a version of her that only existed in my head. You want to know what helped the most? Letting go of the need to understand why. Why did she do it? Why did not she talk to me? Why did she lie when she did not have to? At some point, I stopped trying to solve her like a puzzle. Stopped assigning logic to behavior that was always selfish, always masked, always half a step from collapse. There is no why with people like Jenna. There's just what they want, and what they think they can get away with. That's it. And once I accepted that, I stopped circling the drain. It's not my job to figure her out. It's not my duty to dissect the psychology of a woman who could look me in the eye, lie to my face, and then call me dramatic for being hurt by it. It's not my burden to carry her shame. I gave her my best years, and she used them like currency. I loved her with everything I had. She loved me when it was convenient, when it looked good, when it made her feel secure. The moment that security got boring, she threw a match over her shoulder and walked into someone else's arms like it was a spa day. So no, I do not need her version of closure. I do not need an I'm sorry carved from guilt or regret or loneliness. I closed the chapter when I stopped needing to matter to her. I only needed to matter to me. And here's the wild part. When I stopped chasing that phantom version of her, life started letting in new things, better things. I took up photography again, Something I used to love back when I still had hobbies that did not revolve around making her happy. I started spending time with people who saw me, not just what I could provide. I started sleeping better, deeper, without that ever-present anxiety that maybe I'd done something wrong, that maybe I was not enough. Turns out I was always enough. She just was not capable of recognizing it. One night, months after she left, I got a message from one of her ex-friends, someone who had seen everything unfold from the sidelines. She asked, still blaming you, still telling people you were cold, emotionally unavailable. That she tried. I did not respond. Not because I did not care, but because I was already free. Let her spin her stories. Let her wear the crown in whatever little kingdom of fiction she has built around herself. I'm not the villain in her story. But more importantly, I'm not the victim anymore either. I'm just the guy who walked out of the fire without needing to drag her back in with me. I did not happen like a movie. There was no slow-motion glance across a crowded room. No background music swelling as she laughed at something I said. No click moment where I just knew. It happened on a Tuesday. Again, apparently, Tuesdays are when the universe likes to nudge me. I started going to this little cafe downtown, not the trendy one with fake plants and overpriced almond milk. This one was older, quieter, had chipped wooden tables and a playlist full of jazz that sounded like it was picked by someone with real pain behind their eyes. The kind of place where people read paperbacks and sip black coffee like they mean it. She was at the table by the window. I noticed her because she was reading actual poetry, not scrolling, not performing boredom for Instagram. Actually reading, her brow furrowed just slightly, eyes scanning slow, like she was tasting the words. And maybe it was just the way the light hit her hair or the fact that she looked like she'd been through some storms too. But something about her made me pause, not approach. Just pause. I saw her a few times after that. Same seat, always a latte, always something to read. Once it was Plath. Another time it was Murakami. That made me smile. I do not know what made me talk to her the first time, probably just curiosity, or maybe something quieter, something I had not felt in months. The absence of bitterness. I asked what she was reading. She told me. We talked for 3 minutes, then I left. No expectations, no agenda, just conversation. But it did not feel small. It felt like the first normal moment I'd had in a long time. Her name was Elise. We did not jump into anything. In fact, I did not even tell her I'd been married until the third time we met. Not because I was hiding it, but because I was still learning how to own that part of my story without letting it define me. When I told her, she did not flinch. She nodded once and said that must have hurt. Not what did you do? Not why did she leave? Just that must have hurt. And that's when I knew this was someone who understood grief without needing the full autopsy. This was someone who would not weaponize my past just to feel powerful in the present. We took things slow. She never asked for too much. Never filled silence with noise. Never tried to fix me. Just made room. Real, patient room for me to exist without a mask. And that space? It healed more than therapy ever could. I remember sitting on a park bench with her one evening, both of us sipping from terrible vending machine coffee, watching a couple walk their dog and sink like they'd rehearsed it. And she said, "You seem lighter lately." I looked at her surprised. "I feel lighter. You look like someone who stopped carrying things that were not yours." I did not respond right away. But that sentence stuck. Because that's what it was. For years I've been carrying her guilt. Jenna's shame. Jenna's emptiness. All the weight she dumped on me in the form of suspicion, distance, and carefully crafted lies. I held it all and called a commitment. And Elise could see it the way I'd finally set it down. The real turning point came when Elise found an old photo in my kitchen drawer, one I had not tossed yet. Me and Jenna had some Christmas party, all smiles and sparkles and lies. She picked it up, studied it for a second, then looked at me. "You still holding on to this for a reason?" I shook my head. "Habit, maybe? Or maybe part of you still needs to remember." "Remember what?" "That you survived it." She was not wrong. It was not about forgetting Jenna, or pretending she never existed. It was about remembering me in the middle of it. Remembering that I did not break even when everything else around me did. Elise never asked to be the antidote. She was not interested in being compared. She just showed up. One day, I told her about the Airbnb. The guy. The texts. I expected that look people give you when they hear about betrayal, the mix of pity and morbid fascination. She did not give me that. She just said she never saw you. That hit hard. Because it was true. Jenna saw a role. A function. A man who could pay for trips, fold laundry, say sorry first, sit through her moods without complaint. Elise saw me. Even the parts that were still bruised. Especially those parts. I do not know where it is going yet. I'm not rushing it. I'm just finally in a place where I do not flinch at the thought of more. Where I do not see every new connection as a potential repeat of what broke me. Because Elise is not her. And more importantly, I'm not him anymore. Either. You'd think after everything, after the confrontation, the truth, the messages, the final door slam, things would quiet down. That once someone leaves, really leaves, they stay gone. That the storm moves on and lets you rebuild. But that's not how people like Jenna operate. Because when you stop feeding them the version of you they liked, when you cut off the emotional supply, the reactions, the access, they do not walk away. They circle. They test the fence. They send out scouts in the form of mutual friends, passive-aggressive texts, sudden waves of online activity meant just for your eyes. Not to connect. Not to apologize. But to control the narrative. And I was not playing anymore. It started small. A friend from work, Nicole, texted me one night. Hey, just wanted to give you a heads up. Jenna's been talking about you at her gym. Said you lost it after the divorce and you re-dating some rebound who writes poetry. I laughed. Out loud. Sitting alone in my living room. First of all, Elise does not write poetry. She reads it. Big difference. Second of all, if healing looked like losing it to Jenna, then yeah, I lost it. Lost the need to be controlled. Lost the urge to explain myself to liars. Lost the version of me that stayed quiet to keep the peace. The old me would have confronted her. Called her out. Tried to defend myself. This version just blocked her gym's Instagram account and went on with my night. But the pokes did not stop. A week later, one of Jenna's old friends, Samantha, who'd been silent since the split, DM'd me out of nowhere. I know things ended badly. I just want you to know I always thought you were too good for her. She did not deserve how much you did for her. At first, I appreciated it until she followed up with it. So are you really dating someone already? Just curious. Jenna said you moved on really fast. There it was. Curiosity wrapped in fake kindness. Fishing for details. The kind of message that pretends to be about support but is really just a screenshot away from being passed around in group chats. I did not reply. And then came the message that broke the pattern. Not from Jenna. Not from her minions. From Brian. Again. I'm sorry. I really did not know. She made it seem like you were just some dead marriage she was escaping. I think she used me too. I sat with that one for a while. Because I believed him. Not out of sympathy, but because that's exactly how she operated. She made me feel like an afterthought in my own marriage. She convinced herself that betrayal was justified because she'd already rewritten the ending. Told herself the book was closed even while I was still writing in the margins trying to save us. She told Brian a version of events where she was the victim. Told her friends I was cold, distant, emotionally vacant. Meanwhile, I was the one folding her laundry while she was getting dressed for someone else. I was the one cooking her dinner while she was texting I miss you to another man. She did not leave because I failed. She left because she knew she could not wear the mask around me forever. And once that mask slipped, she needed an escape hatch. Someone new. Someone shiny. Someone who had not seen the cracks yet. When Brian realized he was not special, just the next convenient chapter, he bailed. And now he was trying to patch his side of the wreckage. But I did not need his apology. I just needed distance. Still, I did not block him. I just did not respond. Because not all closures need a reply. But what really sealed it, what really made it clear, was what happened at my buddy Alex's wedding 2 months later. Elise came with me. First real event together. We were not loud about it. No big declarations. Just quiet affection, shared glances, a slow dance under string lights. And Jenna? She was there. Of course she was. She was not close to Alex, but she knew his wife through some long-forgotten mutual friend. Just close enough to be on the invite list. Just distant enough to pretend it was coincidence. She saw us. Eyes locked. And in that moment I did not feel panic. Or rage. Or hurt. I felt fine. She watched us all night. From across the room. Watched me laugh, genuinely laugh for the first time in what felt like years. Watched Elise brush something from my shoulder. Watched me hold her hand not for show, but because I wanted to. And Jenna? She did not dance. She stood by the bar, phone in hand. Eye scanning for meaning. She left early. Did not say a word. Did not need to. Because people like Jenna ca not stand to see you heal. Not really. They want you limping. They want you bitter. They want to haunt you. And when they realize they do not, that's when the truth finally settles in. You did not just move on. You outgrew them. Love, when it's real, does not scream to be heard. It does not make you beg for answers or shrink yourself to fit into someone else's story. It is quiet. Intentional. Honest in ways that do not need punctuation. And I did not realize just how different it could be until one night, Elise and I were sitting on my porch during one of those soft summer evenings where the air feels like it's holding its breath. There was no music, no buzz from the city, just the creak of old wood beneath our feet and the sound of ice shifting in our glasses. She had her legs tucked under her, wearing one of my hoodies she'd stolen without asking, and I caught myself watching her. Not in awe. Not like she was some mystery I had to solve. Just watching and feeling safe. She looked over at me and said, "You always look like you're waiting for something to go wrong." I paused, swallowed, did not know how to respond because she was not wrong. She reached out, rested her fingers on my wrist and added, "You do not have to prepare for disaster every time someone cares about you." That sentence shattered me in the best way because she saw it. The armor, the silent calculations, the way I scan moments for weak points, like if I could just catch the lie early enough, I would not be blindsided again. Jenna made me that way. She trained me to flinch, a kindness to question, laughter to wonder if the warmth I was feeling had an expiration date tucked behind someone else's back. And Elise, she did not try to fix it. She just stayed and kept staying. That's when I knew love was not the roller coaster Jenna made it out to be, full of adrenaline and chaos, and sudden drops masked as passion. Love was what Elise and I had on that porch. Consistent, safe, present. I started unlearning the damage in pieces. There was the time Elise left her phone on the table, screen up, unlocked, and my instinct was to look. Not to snoop, just to check. To make sure. I stopped myself. She saw the flicker in my eyes and said, "You can look if you need to." I did not. There was the time she went quiet for a day, bad work week, migraines, too much stress. And instead of spiraling into she's pulling away, I asked her gently, "You want space or company?" She smiled, leaned against me and whispered this. And there were the dozens of small things. The way she never made me feel like I had to perform. The way she remembered how I take my coffee, the way she touched my hand in a grocery store without needing a reason. You want to know how you know someone is good for you. You stop bracing for the crash. You stop hearing old voices in their new words. You stop feeling like you're wearing someone else's clothes just to be loved. There's no grand dramatic redemption arc with Jenna. She faded, the drama around her fizzled out the moment I stopped giving it air. The people who clung to her because it was easier than facing their own mess. Gone. The group chats. Silent. The rumors died the same way lies always do, without an audience. What stayed with me better, lighter, not healed like it's a checkbox on a list, but healing actively every single day. Because the truth is, Jenna did not break me. She revealed me. She pulled back a layer I did not know existed and showed me what I would and would not tolerate again. And Elise, she did not rescue me. She reminded me who I was before I started mistaking loyalty for self-sacrifice. There's one more thing I'll never forget. Late one night I asked her, "What made you stay?" She smiled softly, no hesitation, and said, "Because you did not make me compete with your past. You just let me earn your future." That sentence was the final nail in the coffin of whatever weight Jenna still had on me. Because that's what real love looks like. Not proof. Not permission. Just presence. If you rereading this because you in the thick of it. Because the person you trusted the most turned out to be the one who cut you deepest. Because you staring at your phone, hoping for some magical text that makes sense of everything. Because your chest feels hollow, your thoughts race at night, and you wondering if this ache ever leaves. Let me tell you something no one told me when I was sitting exactly where you are. You going to be okay. Not in the cliché way. Not in the way people say just to fill silence. I mean actually okay. You going to wake up one day and not think about them first. You going to pass the places you used to go, and not feel that sharp sting. You going to laugh and mean it. You going to love again, wiser, deeper, and without needing to lose yourself in the process. But first, you going to bleed. That part is unavoidable. You going to second-guess every memory. You'll torture yourself trying to spot the exact moment the lie started. You'll feel shame even when you did nothing wrong. You'll blame yourself. You'll carry questions with no answers. You'll replay conversations, texts, looks, silences. It's part of the process. Let it hurt. But do not live there. Here's what I know now that I did not know then. 1. Closure is not out. They do not have to admit it. They do not have to apologize. They do not even have to explain. Closure is not their responsibility. It's yours. And sometimes it looks like accepting that the person you love never really existed in the way you hope they did. 2. Loyalty is beautiful, but it should be mutual. You're not weak for loving hard. For forgiving. For trying to make it work. But that loyalty? That energy? Give it to people who return it in equal measure. Do not pour into cups with holes in the bottom and call it kindness. 3. Pay attention to patterns, not promises. Words are easy. Anyone can say they love you. Anyone can say they're sorry. Watch what they do after the apology. Watch how they treat you when you're not convenient. That's where the truth lives. 4. You do not have to be bitter to be done. You do not have to scream, block, expose, or destroy to reclaim your peace. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is move on in silence. 5. You are not hard to love. Read that again. You are not hard to love. You were just loving someone who did not know what to do with your depth. With your loyalty. With your honesty. And that's not a reflection of your value. That's a reflection of their capacity. I spent months picking up the broken pieces, thinking maybe if I just glued them the right way I'd understand what happened. That maybe the cracks were mine to fix. They were not. I did not break the trust. I did not invite betrayal. I did not deserve the lie. Neither did you. So if you were still stuck in the aftermath, still checking their last scene, still wondering if they think of you, stop. Not because you do not matter, but because you matter too much to waste another second on someone who could not see it. Your story is not over. This chapter is not the definition of who you are. It's just the part where you realize what love is not. And on the other side? Is peace. A peace that does not demand an apology. A peace that does not need permission to exist. A peace that feels like coming home to yourself. That's what I found. That's what I live in now. And if you needed to hear this today, take it. Print it. Tattoo it on your soul if you have to. You are not what they did to you. You are what you do after. And you? You're doing just fine.